is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe with NEVERsate.com, and welcome to the third installment of Strongman Stories. And in this one, I want to tell you guys some of the trials and tribulations that I've had over the years with the car deadlift. Now, I have done a ton of car deadlifts, whether it be in competition or training over the years, and some went really well, and some have gone horribly wrong, but there's only one that has been commemorated on an ugly Christmas t-shirt. Also comes in red to match my face. So if you do not recognize the silhouette, trust me, you absolutely will by the end of this video, because today I want to tell you 3 of my favorite and most iconic car deadlifting moments from my time that I've spent so far in Strongman. So the first time I ever saw, touched, or had a chance to attempt a car deadlift came at the 2014 Strongman Corporation National Championships. Now, it's important to note here that this was my first nationals and I had next to zero Strongman experience. In fact, I had one Strongman training day, not like a bunch of months leading up to this. I had one Strongman training day. What happened is one of my good friends, Mike Jenkins, who was a very competitive world's strongest man many years ago, had died. And at his funeral, I made a promise that I would do a Strongman competition, because I had been telling him for years that I would, but I was just kind of placating him. And now that he was dead, I could never fulfill the promise, so I swore that I would. So I signed up for a competition. Now, the week before the competition, I went up to his and his wife's gym. Her name is Carrie. Now it is Carrie Shaw. She is now Brian Shaw's wife. But I went up there and she showed me what a farmer's handle was. She showed me Atlas stone. She showed me how to pick up a log and things like that. So very basic things. And then the next week, I was competing in my very first Strongman competition ever. So at that competition, I was lucky enough to win first place, and that qualified me for the nationals. So a very short time after that, literally next to no more Strongman training days, I was standing at nationals, and it was an extremely long day in the Reno, Nevada desert sun. We started at like 8 a.m. in the morning, and it was 9 o'clock at night on the first day when they turned on floodlights so that all of us could do the car deadlift. Now do remember, it was a 2-day show, so the next day at 8 a.m. we needed to be ready to do a 1,600 and I believe 45-pound wheelbarrow race. And right now we're still doing the car deadlift. No one's eating dinner, no one's slept. It's an incredible situation happening. And I had never touched a car deadlift, so I'm looking at the guys around me, and all day long I'd been like, hey man, how do you pick up a keg? How do you do this? How do you do that? So same thing happened for the car deadlift. Now I do remember an individual named Joel Snodgrass, who he and his crew took me under their wing that entire day, because I was there alone. I didn't know anyone in the Strongman community. And I was asking them questions all day, and they were so cool to help me, teach me what to do, and then literally I was competing against them 1 second later. So really cool. Anyway, we were at the car deadlift, and it's huge classes. We'd already seen a couple guys pass out. We had seen one dude's nose completely explode just with blood. And I was from an MMA and jiu-jitsu kind of background, so I'm watching guys pass out trying to pick up a car, and I'm like, God just knocked that dude out. So needless to say, I was a little bit intimidating, standing in line, waiting for my chance to strap myself to the frame to see what was going to happen. Now, Joel and his friends were telling me that I needed to be all the way at the end of the handles and to just keep pulling, because most likely what was going to happen is I would start pulling and nothing was going to happen. But if I kept doing that for a couple seconds, then eventually it would break the ground and leave. Now, at this time, I am deadlifting probably in the low 600s with bad form. I was strong, but I didn't really know what I was doing yet. And I thought I knew what pulling hard on a bar was. I thought I knew when to stop pulling and things like that. So I go into this event thinking I'm probably gonna be able to do this. Anyway, I start the deadlift and I start pulling, and absolutely nothing happens, just like they said, but literally they just keep saying, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. And in my head, I just keep thinking, don't give up, just keep pulling. And eventually the car breaks the ground and I stand up, and then it goes back down, and I do it again, and it goes back down, and I do it again. And about at this time, the world starts closing in, right? I start getting auditory exclusion and visual exclusion. So everything's kind of coming down to like a tunnel. And I hear one of my good friends, M, kind of scream out, "Come on, Brian!" And I remember thinking in my head to respond like, "I swear to you, I'm pulling as hard as I can," right? And it was brutal. Up to that point, I thought I knew how to pull hard on a deadlift, but that one set alone taught me completely different. I was able to walk out from that point and pull a deadlift PR when I got back home after nationals, just simply because I realized how hard you actually have to pull when it comes to like maximal effort weights. Now fast forward 5 years and we're ready for the second iconic Car Deadlift Moment, and this was at a much bigger show called the East Coast Most Powerful. And as far as Maryland Strongman shows go, this is about as big as it gets. It's at the Baltimore Convention Center, and it just has a ton of competitors, and it's usually a heavy contest. Anyway, coming up on this, they chose to use kind of hybrid crossover SUV cars. And if you know anything about car batteries, electric car batteries, they are not light. They are not light whatsoever. And in these SUV type of vehicles, they had put them in the back. So we were going to have to deadlift some electric car batteries, which wasn't going to go great for anyone. And even in warm-ups, people were like, I can't believe how heavy this is. How are we going to add 300 pounds of this or whatever they're going to add to it? So my class was about 15 people, and the first two people went, both got zeros, just 0 reps, 0 reps. So I went up just hoping to pull one because I'm not a strong deadlifter. My deadlift at the time was in the mid 7s, and for a heavyweight strongman, that is absolutely nothing. So I pull up to the car and I start tugging on it and nothing's happening. I readjust my feet and I eke out 1 rep. I rebreathe, tag the floor, I get a 2nd rep. Now, I try a 3rd one, it doesn't go up, and I'm thinking, man, you just really messed that up. Someone's gonna get 3, 4, 5, 6. There's always a deadlift champ that's going to come in and just destroy that. But what ended up happening is the other 15 competitors went and no one got a rep. I was the only person to get anything, and I got 2. So the judge pulled us all in and he was like, all right, well, Brian, you won, you get 5 points. He's like, now everyone else, we can either give all of you zeros or we can drop the weight and all of you can compete again. At which time then we'll have a ranking, and everyone chose to compete again. At which time I was very happy about it because that just meant everyone else was gonna get more tired, and my finishing there was much, much better than nationals. So that was a really cool moment for me. And then we have the 3rd iconic deadlifting moment, which is also the reason for this silhouette, and that is when I deadlifted my Jeep. Now I have deadlifted regularly Jeep Wranglers and a lot of really heavy cars. However, my Jeep has a lot of modifications on it that made it a lot heavier, and we have tried deadlifting it many times in the past and it has never gone well. So it was kind of in all of our heads. Now, if you guys watch the channel for any amount of time, you will know my companion, my right-hand man, one of my best friends in the world, Uncle Nick, right? He's been my training partner for the entire time that I own NEVERsate, as well as a coach and just an awesome, awesome guy who also just won the official Strongman Games under 90 kg World Championship. So he is officially a world champion now, and I could not be more proud of the guy. I am so sorry you guys don't see him on the channel anymore, but he did take a job opportunity in Arizona with a beard company and is just doing awesome out there. So I couldn't be more proud of the guy. I hope he comes down for Christmas so that I can see him again because I miss him so much. But anyway, this story, right? Nick and I have been training together, and anyway, we decide that today is the day that we're gonna try to deadlift the Jeep again. And so we roll it up onto the car deadlift frame, and I line up because no one's gonna pull my Jeep before I pull my Jeep. So I line up and I pull on it, and I'm pulling, and nothing's happening. And I'm like, you're gonna hurt yourself, cut it. So I'm like, nope, not today. Still not strong enough to deadlift my Jeep. I need to keep training. Well, Nick, who does not have as strong of a deadlift as I do in the front, however, Nick is he's much, much stronger with side handle deadlifts. So Nick pulls up, and literally I'm like, man, Nick, I couldn't get it. You're not gonna be able to get it, like kind of being cocky and a jerk. Anyway, Nick straps in, Nick pulls, keeps pulling, Jeep leaves the ground, and he picks it up. Again, no one is gonna pick up my Jeep before I do, so virtually before he could put it back down, I was shoving him out of the car deadlift frame, strapping back in, and then I pulled it, and I ended up pulling it for 3, but it literally took Nick to prove that it wasn't impossible, and that guy did that for me so much throughout my years training strongman. He just showed me, you know, you don't give up until it's time to give up, and it was a really, really cool moment, and I just want to say congratulations to my brother for winning the World Championship, and that is exactly what you guys are seeing here. If you've watched the Suffer Beautifully video or anything like that, you'll remember me deadlifting the Jeep at the beginning or at the very end, and this is me deadlifting my Jeep, except imposed instead of my Jeep is Santa. So if you guys are interested in an ugly Christmas sweater or t-shirt to celebrate the season and you want to represent the car deadlift, then you can absolutely do that by going to lowbrand.com or neversategear.com, and you can pick one up. I thank you guys so much for all of you who bought shirts for the Black Friday deal, and all of you who've been buying programs throughout the time, and just all of it goes towards making this channel possible. And I thank you guys so much, especially now as I'm trying to help take care of a sick family member. And so I don't have as much time to dedicate to videos. And so I really appreciate you guys being patient as I put up some of these shorts from the past and things like that. It's not what the channel is always going to be. It's just what it needs to be right now while I try to be there for our family. So guys, I thank you so much for absolutely everything you do. If you guys ever get a chance to do a car deadlift, I hope you give it a shot. It is so much fun and a really cool photo opportunity. So I do thank you. I will catch you guys later in the week. Until I do go out something amazing, realize, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other, please. And I'll see you then.